Hello. Yo!
I'm Chris Nichols from Geekend. We're proud to be a sponsor of this event. It's super awesome, great, awesome, weird collection of people here. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We're checking IDs, so get a drink first before the talks.
We also have t-shirts at the box office. Thank you.
And I'll turn it over to Mr. Ben Andrew. Hi, everybody. My name is Ben Andrews. I am the statewide program manager for ATDC. We have sponsored this event. We are really excited to be here at Geekend. We are the state's technology business incubator, for those not familiar with us. So there are 3 communities outside of Atlanta that have enough of a entrepreneurial ecosystem in the technology space that we have invested in putting a coach in there, and Savannah is one of those. And we are hopefully going to be hiring a new coach next month. So we will be here in Savannah. We're really excited to be part of this ecosystem. One of the things we've helped out with for a few years is we've worked with a number of boot camps in the community, and we are going to hear from 6 people who have been through those type of boot camps. So these are 6 early stage startups, which is what ATDC works with. We work with early stage startups under $1 million in revenue throughout Georgia, and we're really excited about this. So first, I'm going to introduce our 3 judges. First, we have Betsy McCullar. She has a business development practice here, but she also works with a private equity and VC group out of London. Then we have Julian Lewis, who is an entrepreneur and investor here in the Savannah community. And then we have Brad Schweizer, who is our investor relations manager for ATDC. So to let you know, we are going to have 5-minute pitches from each of these startups, and they are going to be judged on their presentation style and skill. They're going to be judged on the need they're addressing, how well they're addressing that need, and then the quality of their team and their product that they have been making or are working on, or their idea. So first, from Phloem is Dean McCraw.
Good evening. I am a oxymoron. And for those of you who don't understand what an oxymoron is, that's 2 words or several words you can't put together. You know, sort of like a cold fire or honest politician. And in my case, it's old fat guy bootstrapping a startup. And those words usually don't go together. But my idea is Phloem. For those of you who understand, Phloem is the Greek word for bark, and we're bringing real-time data to the forest products industry. Pretend you're a truck driver and you're delivering wood to a mill. You're paid either by the mile or by the load. This is a mill in Mississippi. There are no less than little red arrows that represent loaded log trucks waiting to be unloaded. There are no less than 57 trucks sitting here waiting to be unloaded. How would you like to be number 58? At the best, you would get unloaded in 5 hours. That's the best case scenario. So we developed Phloem as a way to share community information about this situation. However, when you do a startup, you learn real quickly that, they always said, how do you determine the value of real estate? Location, location, location. Well, when you do a startup, it's all about pivot, pivot, pivot. And we have pivoted. This has helped to pivot Phloem. Big timber theft case up around Macon. The problem with trees is they don't have barcodes. They don't have any kind of thing that distinguishes one pine tree from the next or one hardwood tree from the next. So it's really easy for theft to occur, and I'll mention later about just how prevalent that is. Our solution is to provide real-time data on what's happening at the mills, show future deliveries to the mill, and allow alerts to be sent out by the drivers and by the mills as well. And also, this last one is really the important one now, is show the origin of that wood that's coming to that mill. This is the Phloem app. You can download it right now on the Android or iOS store. It's available, and gives you an idea of what the mills that we're servicing right now. And so anyway, if you want to take a look at it, take a look. The app is free to truckers and loggers. We try to sell the route data to the mills, and I'll tell you why that is important, because right now there's a lot of interest in chain of custody. And that's a big buzzword now, especially in the ag and the forestry world. And we're also looking at a subscription service for timber monitoring removals. It's estimated in the U.S. each year there's over $1 billion of timber stolen each year in the U.S. We've got a go-to-market strategy. We've been doing these things, using trade publications, trade shows, and probably the most important one is meeting with mills. We've had several meetings with mills. Here's our financials. I don't have a whole lot of time to go into it, but you can see that we're projecting we're going to lose money this year. Next year we should be revenue positive, and then hopefully by 2021 we'll start to show growth. This is our team. We just had a new member to join our team. Malcolm Howard here is our new CTO. And this is the folks who are working. We just signed a contract with East Taylor about development. Say a little word about that. We had bidders. We lost our development team that we were contracting with, and we had bidders for this. We actually had a bidder out of state who was cheaper. But I felt it was important to keep our tech dollars in Savannah. If we're ever going to develop the industry here, we've got to, as they say, buy local. And so that's what we've done. So our tech money is staying right here in Savannah. Our milestones, the app was launched in 2018. We presently have 414 users. That's up. Each time I check it, it's up. So we're getting some traction there. Like I mentioned, we're starting our second phase of development. It includes all these subscription services I mentioned earlier. We've had 3 meetings with the largest pulp and paper company in the world. Our fourth is coming up with corporate management. We got in the door with them when they said that we're getting a lot of pushback in Europe because the NGOs over there are saying, you don't know where your wood's coming from, and I said, Phloem can show you where your wood's coming from. So that's really got us in the door there. And we're also on the radar of certification schemes, SFI, more prevalent in the South, based out of Washington. We've spoken with them. And also FSC, who's based out of Netherlands. We've spoken with them as well. And next level of development, I'll go through these quickly. Trucking aid for finding loads is kind of the Uber for wood. We have traffic. We're going to develop traffic information, landowner wood tracking, again for that prevention of theft, truck delivery schedule system, sort of a fast pass at the scales, and tying these apps into an automated ticketing system with possible QR codes. The mills really like that because we're talking about getting rid of somebody in the scale house. And possible truck monitoring for insurance discounts. That's a real big issue right now in the forest products industry. There's some states where there's only one company writing policies for them. So that concludes my app, and I think that we have time for questions from the judges.
That's a great job. My first question was, so you showed the map where the vehicles are coming into the mill.
Yeah.
How does Phloem help solve that problem? You mentioned the 5 hours to get
Yeah.
unloaded.
Well, that helps you know that I don't want to go to that mill, to go somewhere else, because loggers typically have multiple products they can load, and we see it as those guys in the woods can pull up Phloem and look at it and say, I don't want to send trucks to this mill. And also the drivers can send a push notification out to say, there's problems at this mill, don't come here. And so that hopefully the problem gets straightened out eventually, and then they can go back to a normal turnaround time.
So, are there any possible competitors that are out there right now, or are the mills themselves looking into trying to do this?
The mills are real interested because they've become concerned. The problem is right now, the typical logger here, especially here in the Southeast, is a white male, 57 years old. And they're real concerned because young people, when you look at the return on investment in logging, it's not very good. And young people just aren't interested in that kind of hard work for that lower return. And so they're having the same labor issues, probably even worse in the logging industry and with drivers and stuff. So the mills are becoming really concerned because if they don't have that feedstock, they can't make that paper. They can't make their money.
Thank you, this is really helpful. A question I have beyond, is anybody else doing this, is what's the addressable market, i.e. who else, who can you sell to within Georgia and perhaps the rest of the country? And the second is, assume I know absolutely nothing about logging.
Yeah.
So as you try to explain your pitch to other people, you're gonna have to give them a little bit more detail on.
Yeah. Yeah, 5 minutes was, I have a whole 1 hour presentation I can do.
But I don't have that
5 minutes,
time,
yeah,
you gotta make it quick.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but the question is about addressable market to begin
Right.
with.
There's about 9 million loads of wood moved in the US each year. So if we can capture that data, but there's also, I mentioned timber theft in the US. Timber theft worldwide is really large. So we think there's actually an international market for this product as well. When it comes to competitors, we don't have any direct competitors. We're kind of the first ones to market with this. There is a banker who developed something similar, but his son developed it, and it doesn't track trucks the same way we do, and it only works on the iOS system. And last study showed about 80% of truck drivers use the Android.
And your, oh my God, you are going to recognize revenue how? You're talking about a subscription?
Well, when I was doing
Price point.
Yeah, we were when I was doing this to one of the large mill, their division manager said, "Who's going to pay for this?" And I said, "You are." And he recognized that because the loggers don't have much money. There is a subscription service built in there for them for work. We're calling it "Where's My Truck?" There's a subscription service, but what we're going to do is charge the mills an annual subscription fee for each terminal that uses our product. And we also have other revenue avenues we're looking at, advertising, because we'll be directly reaching those loggers. We think there's a revenue stream there in advertising. So, am I out of time?
3 minutes, but yeah, finish that.
So I think there's a lot of interest worldwide in chain of custody. So I think the Home Depots and the Lowe's of the world are really interested in that now. The mills have been telling them, we can give you chain of custody from our mill to your store, but we can't give you from the woods to the mill. And this will be that piece of the puzzle that gives that total puzzle, the chain of custody all the way from where that wood actually originated, all the way to that final consumer.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
So I just learned a lot more about the logging industry. I think everything I knew before came from a Monty Python song, so who knows how accurate that was anyway. So with that, make sure I've got the order right. Next up is Jerry Fletcher from HealthBar. I think HealthBar. That was my handwriting issue, just so you know.
Howdy, folks. My name is J.R. Fletcher, and I'm the Executive Assistant at HealthBar and HealthBar.io. We're a medical data company, and we've got a big vision for the future of medical data. We realize that there's a lot of challenges in this industry, but we also think that there's a lot of opportunities in this industry as well. So while we do have a big vision for the medical data industry, we realize the importance of a crawl, walk, and then run approach to business. So what we've done is we've started our journey with a very simple website where patients can go to find clinics near them, with the goal of helping smaller clinics to really fill out those schedules and make sure that they're keeping butts in seats. So what do clinics need? Well, we definitely know that all clinics need patients. Consolidation and retail clinics have become a big pain for the smaller clinics. They're making it more and more difficult for these smaller clinics to keep their schedules full and keep those seats full butts. So without new and returning patients to put the butts in seats, small clinics can die an agonizing death. Clinics also need help with online visibility and marketing to help them compete with the large providers. People are flocking to retail clinics, and office visits to primary care doctors have decreased over 18% from 2012 to 2016, according to the New York Times. Small clinics have big needs. We've got the big team to serve them. The Magnificent Seven here. It starts with our CEO, our damsel in distress, Miss Amy Rose. She's a registered dental hygienist and a 20-year professional opera singer. She's also my lovely wife. That handsome devil in the corner there is J.R. Fletcher, that's me, co-founder. I'm also the executive assistant, 15 years in communications and networking, and I'm also an avid singer. John Estama, co-founder, 21 years enterprise developer, full stack. Kenneth Walker Jr., co-founder, 35 years successful business owner and large construction project manager in New York City. He's also one hell of a salesman. This guy can sell ice to Eskimos. Rob Keynes, co-founder. He's our CTO. Rob Keynes is also 21 years in enterprise developer for small companies like IBM, Tivoli, and Railink. David E. Cochran, our CFO. More than 20 years controlling experience. He's our CPA. He's also worked for some small companies like Gulfstream. Edward D'Onofrio, master's in computer science from Georgia Tech, machine learning. And then Champagne Lu Fang, certainly last but certainly not least. He's helping us figure out behavioral issues and how people will want to interact with what we're building. Excuse me. So the HealthBar solution. 65% of clinics surveyed would pay for a listing service if it included a marketing package, we found. So the HealthBar solution, initially, this is just the beginning. You could consider this the ground floor or maybe even the parking garage of the medical skyscraper, the medical data skyscraper we're building. And we did. So it's essentially, what we've done is we've imported or patched the NPI database. NPI database is a national provider identifier number. Each provider in the United States is mandated by HIPAA that they have to have this unique identifier. So we've patched this NPI database into an appealing, easy to use interface for patients to use to find clinics near them. But the main goal is to help these small clinics get butts in seats. That's really our target market. HealthBar will be a partner with a marketing firm to help clinics get the most out of their online presence. The HealthBar advantage. It is not enough to be simply good at something. We at HealthBar have a lot of fun, and we believe that it's important to have fun at your work. So we understand that not everyone really enjoys medical data quite as much as we do. So we promise to make medical fun. Funny is money. Our design will incorporate games, graphics, and good humor in an industry that often needs to lighten up a little bit, we've found. Enjoy games like Doc Adams, Tin Can Target Practice. The HealthBar market. So according to healthit.gov, approximately 43% of doctors already work at these large providers, whereas 57% still own or work in small clinics. So that gives us a market of approximately 3.1 million. Because these the doctors that work for the large providers are obviously, those large providers are already going to have their in-house IT, so they're probably not going to need our services. They might, but it would have to go through a board of advisors and things like that. So, and our goal is to help the smaller clinics. HealthBar goes to market. The NPI database provides HealthBar with a treasure trove of valuable data about our customers. Our primary method of marketing will be via email, and we also will maintain a dominant presence in social media. HealthBar's competition, apps and websites like WebMD, ZocDoc, and Yelp. We find that it has to be a simple listing service. It's got to be easy to use. It's got to be comprehensive. We think it needs to be fun too. We're the only one that promises to be all three. Bringing home the bacon. Our bronze level, essentially we're just patching in this NPI data. We're patching in this NPI database, and that'll be free for folks to use, patients and clinics. If they want to register with us, they can use it free, or they can add a simple, forgettable charge of $29.99 to get some search engine optimization. We have a silver and gold package offering increased marketing packages, again, that will go to our partner in marketing. We'll take a small slice off the top. And HealthBar will also seek to monetize our valuable data via partners in the industry such as medical device manufacturers. Counting the beans. We've got a lot of work to do in financial projections. We realized that initially we're going to be barely getting by, but 3 years out, we plan to be rolling in dough. Where we've been and where we're going. October of 2018, myself and the other 3 founders placed second in the Dallas Hackathon with our HealthBar idea. In early 2019, the 4 founders began their quest to find the best team that money can buy for $0. 2020 and beyond, we at HealthBar have a big vision, and we have plans to get there, but we want to hear more from you. We want to know what clinics need and what you need. What's your vision for the future of medical data? Thank you very much.
So, is the database called MPI? Is that what you said?
Yes, correct.
So, why can't the clinics just pull that data directly themselves? And what is the benefit of you doing that for them?
So the NPI database is a government website, and like many government websites, it's not very easy to use. It doesn't provide the information in a very readable format. It's just not very pleasing or appealing to anybody. And certainly for these smaller clinics, we find that most patients have no idea what the NPI database is or how to use it. The clinics would. So we want to help the patients find these clinics. So through the visually appealing and easy to use interface that's patched in this NPI data, we believe that will help the patients find these smaller clinics and kind of shop around. And so that's the idea there.
So great job. Tell me a little bit about the architecture. So you talk about selling SEO to a small business. Is that because you're going to power their website, or is that because of your own SEO that you're generating on their behalf? And then the second part of that question is, how do people find HealthBar.io? Are you paying for that traffic? Is it all going to be organic? Talking about customer acquisition.
Okay. Remind me of the first part of the question, please.
First part was you're selling SEO as one of the value adds to a practice.
Right.
Are you going to inject SEO into their existing platform? Or are you offering them a CMS? Talk me through that.
Okay, so we find that smaller clinics in general will need help with their online presence. We will provide search engine optimization on our site. Certainly, for the small package, right, $29.99, search engine optimization on our own site, because we're going to have this database and people will be able to optimize their search results within our site. But then for the marketing packages that folks want to add on top of it, we'll dole that out, and the marketing team that we're partnered with will do all the search engine optimization for things like Google, the marketing, the advertising, and things like that.
And then the traffic. So how does someone find your site, and why would I go to you versus WebMD or somebody else?
Right, that's a good question. We've got a lot of discovery to do in that department. We do. The NPI database does give us a lot of valuable data about our customers, which is the clinics. But as far as generating that traffic, that's a good question. We've got a lot of discovery to do there.
So the only difference you've suggested to me between you and WebMD and Yelp, etc., is fun.
Correct.
That seems a little frightening to me. So can you give us a little bit of a feeling for the origination of this idea, why you and your wife came up with this idea and thought that perhaps there was a reason to do this?
So there's a couple reasons. My wife, being a registered dental hygienist, she works for a smaller clinic, and they have a problem scrambling to keep their schedule full every day. So that was part of it. Another part of it was last year I had my first surgery. And I found that after the surgery, I found that the medical data, there was a big issue. One with my disability, disability claims, insurance. There was just issue upon issue compounded. And so I decided, I went to this hackathon in Dallas, and I pitched this idea to the team. We kind of had a ragtag team of people. There were some professional teams at this hackathon, but we were kind of a ragtag team. We hadn't even met each other, but I pitched this idea to a group of guys. They loved it. So this idea is not the idea that we pitched at the Dallas hackathon. The idea that we pitched at the Dallas hackathon was kind of our big medical data on a distributed ledger platform that's very new. So, but we found that when I talk about it, a lot of times we get looks like we're three-eyed aliens talking about medical data on a distributed ledger. And also, because we realize the importance of the crawl, walk, run approach, where we want to get is a ways off. We want to be a powerful player and a builder of value-added features for the big players like Epic and Cerner, but we want to be a powerful player in the medical data field in our own right. But we realize it's going to take time to get there. So essentially, the listing service that we're providing, our CTO has found that approximately 50% of what we're building for the HealthBar listings project will be reusable, and we're taking a modular approach to what we're building such that we can use it in other projects as we go forward.
Thank you. Very much.
All right.
So my first internship I ever had was in medical data, and it would have been a lot more fun working for those guys. Yeah. So I did forget to mention earlier, and I should say this, these startups tonight are competing for a $1,000 cash prize. So at the end of the night, the judges and I will go back, we'll deliberate real quick while Jen gives you a rundown of the rest of the evening's events, and then we will come back and announce the winner. So up next from Hooga is Liz Kaiser.
Hello, my name is Liz Kaiser, and I'm the CEO of Hooga SAV. I was a renter for 15 years. As most renters, I have good stories and I've got bad stories about landlords. I once rented an apartment where we had plants growing through the ceiling because the landlord would not address existing water damage. I also had an awesome landlord who, anytime we had a maintenance issue, he could have somebody there in 15 minutes flat. There's a huge discrepancy in what people consider acceptable when it comes to renting. Renting is tough. Average renters take 3 weeks to find a place. It's 3 solid weeks of looking at listings, making phone calls, scheduling appointments, filling out applications, and unlike landlords, renters do not have the option of being able to do a reference check or a background check on their potential landlord. Landlords also have a hard time with managing time to be able to have as many renters as they have coming their way to get them to come and see the apartment and find a really good applicant who's going to fill their vacancy for a year. So what's the solution? Hooga. Hooga is the solution. We are going to offer the only comprehensive landlord database for Savannah. Renters can come to the website, check out reviews, see if the landlords that are from those reviews have any open listings. Then they can actually educate themselves before they go to see a new apartment about what the situation with their potential landlord might be. On the flip side, landlords will be able to access renter applications that are saved through Hooga that will already be vetted by Hooga, so saving them time of having to go through all of the background checks and reference checks that they would normally have to do. Hooga will be the only comprehensive database. It will save renters and landlords alike time, money, and headaches. Renters will also be able to access a renter resources page that will be able to help them understand what their rights are as a Georgia tenant, help them find affordable moving companies, renters insurance, and read tips on what to do if their landlord unjustly keeps their security deposit. Savannah has the 15th highest renter to homeowner ratio in the country. Nationally speaking, there are 35% renters versus 65% homeowners. In Savannah, we have 51%. That equals 26,000 renters every single year, breaking down to over 2,000 renters per month that are looking for new housing options. As homeowner prices continue to rise, there is no lack of demand for rental housing. Our go-to-market strategy would be to use social media, university housing resources, as well as Google Ads to drive traffic to our website. Once there, sales would happen on the website. We would also have a sales team that would target landlords who have high ratings who are not already listing with us. We have a 3-part subscription model. Renters would pay $25 to use the site per year. Landlords would be based on how many listings they have per year. And advertisers would be able to pay either monthly or yearly to be part of the renters resources page. Our team is currently myself, Cassandra Nicholson, who is our CMO, and Samantha Myers, our sole board member for now. Our progress to date is a live beta website that is currently collecting landlord reviews. We are seeking funding for website design, research, legal, and marketing. We are also seeking developers and mentors, as well as anyone else who thinks that this could be a really good solution for the renting situation in Savannah. Hooga is a Danish term that means to find comfort and joy in your surroundings. At Hooga, we believe that where you live should be home. Thank you.
I would like to know if this is just the capsule start, and do you have bigger plans than just Savannah?
Yes. So Hooga is our umbrella name. Hooga SAV is specific to Savannah as our pilot program. I have done research into other cities that also have a higher than average renter to homeowner ratio. And once we have a successful plan going in Savannah, we'd love to bring this to other cities who are also needing something along these lines.
Talk to me about the address or the average stay of what you are targeting. Would this be a medium term, a long term rental, or even on the short term side as well?
At this point, 6 months would kind of be the short term side of it. You know, a lot of renters who have great landlords will stay for a couple years. You know, it's a great situation, and maybe they outgrow the apartment, and that's why they have to go and find someplace new. So unfortunately, currently there are a lot of not great landlords here, and so there is a lot of turnover and a lot of people who are trying to find something a little bit better than what they're dealing with.
So good answer. Seems like a lot of these resolutions will end in legal disputes of some kind when there's a falling out.
Yes.
I didn't see anything on the revenue side that talks about referral revenue for either attorneys or people that may be looking for that type of action. Is that something you've considered?
Yes. Just a little bit at this point.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what your team members bring?
Sure. A lot of enthusiasm. That is definitely our greatest strength on all of our parts. We all have rented specifically in Savannah for a minimum of 10 years. So we all have a great deal of stories and a great deal of experience with different things that have happened. Cassandra actually just last year had her security deposit kept unjustly, and it was because the landlord he didn't put it in an escrow. And so when it came time for her to get her deposit back, he didn't have it. And he just said, oh, I'm short on cash. And she said, I've fulfilled every bit of my side of the lease. There's no reason why you should be keeping this. And so she documented everything and got to the point of taking him to small claims court. And then he eventually got the money together because of that threat and did actually give her deposit back. And so combined, we all have a lot of experiences with what you should be doing and also how to be a proactive renter to not end up in that situation.
And quick follow-up, how is this, I see a little bit of the differences, but just explain a little bit, elaborate a little bit more about how this is different than Jeff Goldblum in Apartments.com. He's on the commercials, that's why I say that, but Apartments.com.
So Savannah hasn't really adapted that well yet. And so I'm trying to create something that is very specific to Savannah to start. Yelp also has reviews on it. I think there's 3 for all of Savannah. I mean, we have plenty of rentals that could have ended up on there, but people just don't use it for that. So having a comprehensive place where people could land, where they could find the things they need to learn to help themselves, to find a good landlord, all of that, creating that specifically with the feeling of Savannah in it was very important.
Thank you very much. I would have loved for that to have been around when I was renting in Atlanta. Right. Yeah, as is everyone else who rented. So our next up from NextGen Leaders is Antwone Smoak.
The youth of a nation are the prosperity of our nation. The youth of a nation are the trustees of our prosperity. I'm Antwone Smoak, and I present to you Next Generation Leaders, a youth development program. Did you know that college readiness levels in the U.S. are collapsing? Over 35% of high school graduates in the United States did not meet high school graduation levels right in 2018. And over 43% of high school students are economically disadvantaged. In Savannah, over 56% of high school students are economically disadvantaged. I was one of them. You see, I was born to a single African-American mother. When I was 7 years old, she died from cancer. But I had loving grandparents and godparents that raised me. But my godparents died when I was 17 years old. Yet it was the founding principles of NextGen leaders that propelled me to success. And that's why I stand here today. NextGen leaders bridges the gaps for those who are economically disadvantaged, who are first-generation college students, and the minorities. Our mission is simple: to empower, impact, and to equip youth with the tools needed to fulfill their greatest potential. We accomplish this through our highly coordinated program, consisting of counseling, mentorship, college advisement, workforce development, and professional immersion. Our market is Savannah. We're piloting this in Savannah. There are 14 high schools in Savannah with over 8,600 students. Our key targets are high school students and recent graduates between the ages of 17 and 21. We're reaching for those who are in the gap. Having conducted extensive research on this issue, we found similar organizations that focus on some of the things that we do, but it's only NextGen leaders that addresses all issues and fill those gaps, such as counseling, mentorship placement, college admission counseling, workforce development, professional immersion, financial literacy, and business etiquette. NextGen Leaders is a unique service that dissolves scattered solutions by uniting parents, teachers, counselors, mentors, and business owners in the strategic development of our next generation. We do that by bringing these resources together. So how do we make money? NextGen Leaders is a nonprofit organization, and we make revenue in two ways. First, through sponsorships. That includes charitable contributions, corporate sponsorships, and partnerships as a pathway to professional immersion. Secondly, we have fees, and that includes the introduction and orientation to the program for students, monthly fees for development, and the program fees for the cost of our service. And we do provide scholarships to those families that are in need. Well, as we are a new organization, NextGen Leaders are so fortunate to have our first advisor, Mr. Richard Berkowitz. He has a wealth of expertise. He served as the White House Fellow. He was also on the board of the Woodrow Wilson International Center, and he is a wealth advisor, and he's my personal advisor. He helped me get to where I am today. We're also looking for our career development coach, certified marketing officer, our certified fundraising executive, and we're looking for more and additional advisory board members. NextGen Leaders is a roadmap to success for our youth. Our program starts with an introduction and orientation, and that elevates to our gap analysis, trying to figure out why our youth are in the gap. And then we move to crafting a strategic plan to move our youth forward. And then we bring our resources together. We bring our parents, our teachers, our counselors, our mentors. We bring them all together for the youth development. Do you know that in the high schools in America, where there are at least 300 students, there are only 2 to 3 counselors to cover all of those students? That's something that next generation leaders are going to take care of, because we are building the next gen leaders. We're currently seeking $350,000, and that's for 4 new staff members that we just listed in our previous slide. In conclusion, I will say to you what I started with. The youth of a nation are the trustees of our prosperity. Invest in youth by investing in our future and invest in next-gen leaders. Thank you.
Antwone, thank you for sharing what's clearly a very personal story.
Thank you.
We appreciate that that comes from the heart and from personal experience, and that makes for a very authentic and compelling presentation. What I'd like to understand is, you're raising money, and you explained to me about people. Is this a place? Is this a state of mind? What exactly is the product?
So it's all of that. We included in the $350,000 that we're seeking, that would include overhead for travel and space, renting where we can host our program, where we can bring the youth together for the mentor sessions, for workforce development and business etiquette, networking events, so we would have a space. But what we want to give them essentially is a plan and a promise. When I was coming up, I didn't have a plan, because when you're economically disadvantaged, you're working just to get through the day. But we want to craft a roadmap for them, and the promise at the end would be a college acceptance letter or a job offering towards the end of the program. Yes.
Antwone, great job. Have you worked with anybody currently, or tell me about any success stories through the program yourself or what have you?
We haven't officially launched the program, but we have worked with students. I am a mentor at Johnson High School, a local high school, and I work with students on personal development, also with Model United Nations, just to expose them to the world they don't know of. And so yes, I work with them, and I am a mentor in the Savannah region. So this program we will pilot in Savannah, connecting with the school system and focusing on those who are in the gap phase that we can identify.
Before you did this, what did you do?
Pardon me?
Before you did this, what did you do?
Myself?
Yes.
Well, I am the administrative assistant at the Savannah Economic Development Authority. And I'm glad to see my team there. They're on the road there. Our COO, Ms. Brenda Grant, Chief Operating Officer. So I'm an executive assistant. I'm also a graduate student right now. Yes.
What is the plan of attack to get people to sign up for this?
Well, once we launch this and hopefully get a marketing officer, we already know the market, and we have people who are looking for resources, so it's not hard. And I'm working also with the school system. I've been meeting with those in the school system. I just met with a local high school, Woodville Tompkins High School, and they're working with this as well, developing youth through their career technical phase. And so I am working with the school system to identify those 56% economically disadvantaged, minority, and first-generation students to help them move forward. So I'm working with the school system.
Antwone, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great job. One of the things we always talk about is we love the amount of passion we see from these entrepreneurs, and every time I talk to VCs, they make the joke of how they have to always say no, and I would be a really bad VC because it's hard for me to say no to presentations like that. So next up, we have What Ails You, or Way, with Gwen Dipert.
Sorry, if you could just give me 1 second. I have this weird food thing, and I'm trying to figure it out, and I need to put it in my app. Just, sorry, 1 second. All right, it's really awkward right now. Okay. That was rude and awkward for me and you, and And if you are like me, or you know somebody like me, you know that trying to figure out what ails you, or a particular food affliction is doing to your body, it's really hard to figure that out. It can be tedious and rude and disruptive to your life. And it's very prevalent. In a study last year of more than 40,000 adults, 20% said they had detected some sort of food insensitivity, and 11% fit the profile of an actual food allergy. Based on my customer interviews as well, it's really hard to stay motivated to a specific diet once you do decide on or discover the culprit. So, solution I would like to propose is minimally intrusive nutrition tracking and automated symptomatic detection. So, what we would do is combine nutrition tracking and automatic symptom detection and pattern recognition. So we intake all of that data and we spit it back to you and we tell you and look at your patterns, what caused what, when, and what you can do to change it. This data stays focused on you because you have never existed before. You are a product of an ancestral lineage that is entirely unique and have entirely unique problems to you, and you need data to stay scoped to you. And we would also provide ongoing support that would help you stay on track with whatever specific diet you need to have established. So there is a huge market opportunity for this. Food allergies globally are on the rise. There are 4.8 million US adults who have been diagnosed with a food allergy in adulthood today, which is projected to be undiagnosed by 2 or 3. According to my research from various sources, potentially there could be 14 million US adults who have an undiagnosed food intolerance by 2024. So I have the unique expertise to solve this problem, I think. I am a product manager. I was a former QA engineer. I'm also a food intolerance victim who's not actually tracking food this way, just by the way. I've also been working with a certified nutritionist, doctor of health administration, doctor of psychology, and I work with software engineers in the Research Triangle in North Carolina who are excited about this project. So my business model is freemium, and I would like to offer my users 2 subscriptions, $2.99 monthly fee for full access to all of our features, but we would take that data and you would share it with us and we would use it for research or share it with other organizations. For $5.99, that data belongs to you, and you get to do with it what you want. You can sell it to us if you want, but you can keep it, we'll encrypt it, we won't do anything with it. I think that this app has a lot of potential, and once word gets out, it could near close to 2 or 3 million users by 2024 with 8% monthly attrition. There is no app out there or service that tracks both your food intake and your symptoms and analyzes them for you. There also is no app out there that allows you customizable inputs, which is something I'd like to work in, or that sort of level of detailed analysis that's focused specifically on you. Go-to-market plan would involve partnering with a lot of the resources I used for my research, WebMD, Medscape, and Healthline. I would plan to partner with allergy advocacy organizations like FAIR and the AAI. I also have spoken with some nutritionists who would find value in this working with their clients, because I think there's some people who are still going to want to work with someone in person, and that nutritionist would still have access to their data. So where does that leave us? I think this is a very big problem that requires a very personalized solution. I don't think a fad diet or identifying like what's some random thing you found on the web is going to help. I think this is a market opportunity that can actually drive biotech innovation. And I think that with our business model and our methodology, we can gather data on an unstudied population responsibly. What I am asking for is both money and advisors. $200,000 would set us up for 1 year of development, just 6 months of testing. and 6 months of development, and then also a 3-month launch period. But I'm also looking for, to speak more with experts and advisors in the industry. And references, if you want to read that, you probably don't.
Gwen, great job.
Thank you.
My first question is, you started the presentation by inputting data into phone as if we were using an old system.
Yes.
How would your product avoid the same conundrum that you've started the?
So I have a wearable. I think those will be more prevalent and get cheaper. I would do something like this. We would start to slowly integrate tracking into your life. It's just as disruptive to start tracking and figuring out what your food allergy is as it is to actually have the food allergy. So we can start small, I could just start to tap this. That'll mean I had bread,
No, I don't know. So what you're saying is that I'm not going to have to keep a food, or are you just really are you just giving me an app for my food diary, and then I think I'm having a little bit of trouble seeing what your vision is of what this exactly is.
Okay.
And then the second question is, I think there's a lot of places where people are tracking all kinds of things about their life. So you're on that track. It strikes me that you may have to, you're going to have a hard time continuing to keep a consumer involved because they're going to do it for a while and they get bored with that. I don't know if you've thought about that, but maybe you can come back to us. But I will tell you the interesting thing is the idea that you can hold on to the data instead of share it, because that's a really interesting, I've never seen that before. That's kind of interesting.
Okay.
So
I can't.
explain how it works.
Okay. So it is food tracking. It is gradual introduction of food tracking into your life with customizable input methods. You wouldn't have to just type all the time. You could start to tap on your device, maybe when you've eaten out, and you could start tracking when you've eaten out to start. And then there's a lot of stuff on your Apple Watch that is detecting your heart rate and where you are and how you're doing in weird and scary ways, and that's only going to get better or worse depending on how you look at it. And that is where I see this going. So a lot of this process is going to be automated.
To follow up on that a little bit, you're making the underlying assumption that wearables or some type of other device, non-intrusive device, will become prevalent amongst users. Is there data to back that up that's out there?
Yeah. So, the US is the second in global wearable sales. Apple Watch is definitely leading the market. Growth is a little slow right now. I do think that's because of a price point issue, but yes, wearables are growing.
And then you mentioned that some of the money would be for proprietary tech that you would license. Can you just elaborate on that a bit?
When I said that, I was referring to, I think, technology in either the biotech industry or academia that I will need to license in order to launch this. Yeah. Oh, I'm dead. I'm good.
Good job.
Yeah. Thanks. Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Would rather my wearables be using that than listening to my conversations and then targeting me with ads the next day, like, the news keeps telling me they're doing. Hide my watch. So we have one final presentation. Up next is Casey Herrington from Gene.
All right, so my name is Casey Herrington, and I'm here today to talk to you about Gene for patient engagement. So August 14th, 2013, that date sticks in my mind for two main reasons. The first, it was my birthday, and the second, I received a phone call from my stepmom. And I was expecting the typical happy birthday, but whenever I answered the phone, that's not what she said. She said, "Casey, I'm so sorry for what's happened." And I said, "What happened?" She said, "Your mother has fallen, she's been rushed to the hospital, and it doesn't look good." Now you should know that my mother saw symptom onset of a disease in her early 30s called Huntington's, which is a lot like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and ALS combined into one. And a week after that phone call, she passed away at the age of 46. And it was at her funeral that I made a decision that I was going to dedicate my time to getting in the fight against Huntington's disease in whichever way I could. So let me introduce you to Dr. Katurik. Dr. Katurik is the director for the Huntington's Disease Clinic at the University of South Carolina School of Medicine. And Dr. Katurik, along with a lot of other doctors, has a big problem. And the problem is patient adherence and essentially no-show appointments. There's actually $300 billion that are wasted every year from patients not following the instructions provided by the doctor. And patient adherence impacts almost 50% of patients. And at the root of it is miscommunication. So 280 million patients per year. There are about 1.5 million physicians in the United States. And per physician, they lose about $150,000 a year for no-show appointments. That's a $225 billion problem. So the solution is Gene, which is an AI assistant that helps clinics with patient follow-up. It tackles the core problem of patient adherence by focusing on the core issue, which is miscommunication. So Dr. Katurik cares about this because he has the no-show appointment problem as well, but he also knows that poor patient adherence results in poor patient outcomes. So what would happen is the users would go to Dr. Katurik's clinic. They would opt in to use Gene. And then after they left the clinic, Gene would reach out to them, check up, make sure they're staying on track, reinforce important health themes. So when a doctor is talking to a patient, they have a finite amount of time to convey a bunch of important health information. And the retention of that information is very low. This is something that's important for the patients to know and understand and value, so it needs to be continuously reinforced even after they've left the clinic, but clinics don't have the bandwidth to do that now. And then finally, determining the barriers that the patients are having to getting back to their next appointment, troubleshooting it, and reducing or removing those barriers entirely. So Dr. Katurik benefits because decreased no-show appointments, improving patient education and understanding, and ultimately you're driving better patient outcomes. Patients are healthier. So traction, so I've created an AI assistant for the Huntington's disease community where it could listen to one's frustrations and then provide them with resources or recommendations or a path forward for them to take. That was a passion project, and I've taken that and I've just kind of repackaged it and now using it for patient engagement. I am participating in a VVM accelerator in Massachusetts. And the reason why I have this map up is because I'm running formalizing a pilot study with Dr. Katurik in Columbia, South Carolina. And that pilot study is looking to launch on July 1st to use Gene for his patients. So how are we going to make this sustainable? So if a clinic has 120 patients or less, they'll pay $25 per patient. If it's over that, the clinic will just pay $3,000 a month. So my advisory team is made up of some of the leaders of the largest HD research and advocacy groups in North America. But the one that I want to point out here is actually Dr. Yorling, so George here in the middle. He's with HDSA, and HDSA is the Huntington's Disease Society of America. And they have centers of excellence all over the United States, and Dr. Katurik's clinic is actually a center of excellence. So after the pilot study, the go-to-market strategy is to, with my relationships with George and HDSA, scale from that one HDSA center of excellence to all of their clinics in the United States. So team, right now it's just me. So I have a degree in business, and I'm a self-taught software developer with a focus on AI. So again, my name is Casey Herrington, and I look forward to your questions. Thanks.
Casey, great job. Believe it or not, people don't like coming to the car dealership either, so we have an appointment problem there. So anyway, I've got some experience with AI and how we drive people back into store. Tell me about what's the average number of visits a patient will make to a doctor? Is that something that is easily quantifiable? In other words, they make their initial visit, and then how many times do they come back on average?
So the average patient goes to the doctor twice a year.
Including folks that suffer from Huntington's?
So for Huntington's, it's higher than that actually.
Okay.
It's probably about four times a year.
Good idea. It sounds to me though like if the doctors are missing, if patients aren't showing up to these doctors' offices, and then you are able to get them to come back in, it sounds like there might be an additional burden on the doctors if they have to follow up with them. How is that? Am I understanding that correctly? Is there going to be more work on the doctor's side of things to go in and follow up with these 500 patients that they're now getting each year?
So that's the reason for Gene. Gene handles the follow-up.
It does through the AI.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's a dialogue system.
Got it. I'd be curious to learn a little bit more about that, but I don't think we have enough time.
So am I being answered by a bot?
Yes.
Okay. And how is this different than my insurance company or my doctor's practice, which is already doing a little bit of this?
Like text message reminders?
Text message, email, all those things.
Yeah. So I mean, this isn't a new problem, right? And there are companies that do secure text messaging for clinics, so they can like send reminder texts. They'll send reminder emails. It's a tool for the clinics to use, and it's very one way. It's not very empowering for the patient. And now the field of AI has made such progress where using a dialogue system in this way is becoming much more realistic.
So it'd be fair to say that your differentiation is because it's going to be more interactive, yes, where the patient. And then would it be fair to say also that you're really piloting with Huntington's disease, and then taking it out to all the other, because you talked about a huge addressable market, which is way past Huntington.
Yeah,
Thank
exactly.
you. And thank you for sharing your personal story, which, what can I say? It's very authentic, and it explains where you're coming from and where the passion lies.
Just quickly, because I think we're running out of time. Talk to your revenue model. You said per patient. Talk to me, is there a performance opportunity here where you could be paid as patients show up? In other words, you get paid every time you can actually drive somebody back in, as opposed to just saying, I'm going to charge you for everybody that's in the database?
Yeah, so I haven't considered that, but that's actually a good idea.
Are you sure it's a miscommunication thing? What if it's not? How do you know it is?
So we're running the pilot right now to determine how effective Gene's going to be. So like after that pilot, we'll have our answer. Yeah.
Casey, thank you very much.
Thanks. Appreciate it, guys.
Let's give one more round of applause to all of the presenters from tonight. So we are going to quickly tally up the scores and look at it, and I'm going to invite Jen Benet down to tell you a little bit more about the rest of the events for this evening and what is going on with the rest of Geekend. So we're going to go to another.
I'm here. I'm here. Well, come up here. Do it with me. Where's the clicker? Clicker? Oh, now I went too far. But those are our sponsors, so let's give a round of applause for our sponsors. Right. We can go back. Yeah, so tonight, and Alicia knows a lot more about this because she was in the weeds on planning all this, so I'm going to let her talk about tonight's event.
All right, we'll talk about tonight. So, the bar here is open until 7. After that, the bar closes. But fear not, because there are things going on after 7 o'clock that are off-site. So, the first thing that is going on for general audiences is the bar hop to end all bar hops, party like a Savannian. We will leave from the lower lobby down here just as soon as this wraps up and we get out the door. We will be going to Congress Street Social Club, we will be going to the Portal, and we will be going to the Grove, where they have a delectable glass of champagne with a popsicle in it that is just delightful. So that will be wonderful. TechSav, is there anybody from TechSav here?
Orange shirts are gone.
Oh, okay. They're hanging out in another room, but they will be also hanging out at the distillery, which is nearby, really quick walk, probably 2 minutes away. So they're having a more low-key thing for the tech folk if you want to head over there. And finally, our good friends at the Chromatic Dragon down MLK are having a Super Smash Brothers tournament at their place for gaming inclined folk. So go. They're offering 10% discount on food with your Geekend badge. So that is good if you are into games and the Chromatic Dragon and getting discounts on food. And tomorrow. So we are here for mingling. Perk will be back doing coffee first thing in the morning, just like they were today. And weren't they fabulous? Absolutely. So that's going on. The expo will open. So if you haven't made it upstairs to see the booths from our awesome sponsors and partners, please make a point to do that tomorrow. At 8:30, we're having a really cool session in the Studio Theater. Maggie Cunningham from Savannah Power Yoga is running like a no sweat, like chair yoga that you can do at your desk session for us to kind of shake off the after party and wake up. So please be there for that. That's going to be awesome. And then we will have opening remarks in here at a little after 9 o'clock. Sound good? Awesome. So the bar is open until 7, so I suggest taking advantage of that if you are so inclined. And we will take a little break and come back here in, 20 minutes? 20 minutes. And we will reveal who has won this competition.
Thank you, everybody. So, first off, another round of applause for all of the entrepreneurs that pitched tonight. So we had 6 really good presentations. The deliberation was tough. We really appreciated everything everybody did. We loved all of your presentations. All of the judges said they will be around afterward. If any of you want some feedback, they would be more than happy to talk to you. And it was difficult to look at because the companies are in such different places. It's a lot of apples to orange comparisons. But the one that Dave chose really stood out because of the quality of the presentation and the specificity of the ask and what was going to be done with the money. So, congratulations to Hooga. Congratulations to all the entrepreneurs. Congratulations, ladies. Thank you all very much, and there are after-party festivities for the night. So, Thank you.